Melinni ddoedd fy nhaid, melinni ddoedd fy nhad, melinni ddydw y gore yn y wlad.
Hello everyone, I'm Heather. It is still DEWITHON. I think I've read five books so far for DEWITHON, like Wales related books. But it is a drop in the ocean to what I had actually planned for this month. I'm looking at my stack now of what remains of the books I wanted to read, and it's extensive. However, it's like 2-3, like nearly 3 weeks left of DEWITHON, so I'm not worried. Yeah, it's not time to be worried yet. I'm working on, Salt by Catrin Kean. So this one takes place in Cardiff, and it's like a bit of a romance. It takes place in the late 1800s, and it's literally the story of this author's great-grandparents, which is a bit nuts. So it's this girl in the 1800s, she's a maid, she lives in Cardiff, and she marries a ship's cook from Barbados. Like, he comes into port, she marries him, and they go off on the ship again, like on an adventure, and they live in San Francisco, and like I think they go to the West Indies, blah blah, and then they come back, and you find out like what's happened to them from there. Okay, I've been trying to reserve judgment on this book until after I get a bit further into it, because I'm only like a quarter through it, and I feel like it's a dangerous place to start throwing wild accusations around that a book isn't very good if you're only this far into it. Do you know what I mean? So I've been trying to like get a bit further before like having this rant, but I'm having a hard time. I feel like, okay, it's giving me vibes like The Tattooist of Auschwitz. And I know that seems a weird stretch and a weird connection, but I'll tell you why. Okay, Tattooist of Auschwitz, obviously it's about this guy who's the tattooist in Auschwitz, okay? He was a real guy, and it was a real story that really happened. No one created it in their mind, okay? It's real. It really happened. So while it's wild and super interesting or whatever, it's not like, you know, the brainchild of a particular author. The only thing the author did with the story is write it down. Like, the guy was like, this is what happened. Can you please novelize it for me so that people will want to read it? And she was like, sure thing. And she put it down on paper. But my personal opinion is that she put it down on paper badly. Like, the author, she was like a screenwriter, first of all, and that was like her first her first novel or something. And she's like not a novelist. Maybe she's now. I don't know. I haven't read anything else. But for that minute, her novel like abilities were not good, in my personal opinion. Like, she did not write well. Maybe she wrote screenwrites, her like screenwriting skills were good. Like, I have no idea. Okay, but I feel like that book was crap personally. And I talked to a bunch of other people, okay, and they were like, yes, also it was crap, but it has loads of awards, like loads of praise in the media. Everyone was like, this is the best book. And is it because they were judging it based on the characters and the plot and all this sort of stuff, going, this is an amazing story? Like, yeah, it's an amazing story, but as a novel, you know, written by this person, is like a bit crap. Can we just, you know, say that the writing is crap so that people don't accidentally read it and have a horrible time? Okay, I'm like getting really caustic now, and I don't want to be this person. I don't want to be like this, okay? But I'm getting vibes, like, I'm getting similar vibes. Okay, so it's got an award. It's the Wales Book of the Year, okay? And, you know, great cover, great, like, praise. Loads of people saying it's great. And the story itself is great. It's nuts. Like, it really happened. This girl, you know, 19th century in Cardiff, this, like, really small, you know, like, place in Wales or whatever, and she's had this great adventure. She probably met this guy from Barbados, and it was like, you're from where? Like, it was just so mind-blowing, you know, to be from somewhere so far away as Barbados, you know what I mean? And probably the adventures she had were nuts, you know, just amazing, the best, like, wildest time, you know. The story itself, the characters, amazing. But the author didn't invent them. They're not, you know, creations. They're not her personal creations. They actually happened. And her novelization of the thing that happened, I feel is not good. I feel like her writing is not good. Like, obviously this is a completely subjective thing, and that it's just me, and it's my personal, like, styling preferences. Do you know what I mean? So it's not bad writing, it's just, you know, I feel like it's not good. And why is it? Like, so, you know, when I read really good writing, there's loads of praise and loads of awards usually behind it. Like, yes, like people agree. They're like, yes, this is very good writing. So why is it that you pick up a book and you read it and go, this is bad writing? Why does it have so many awards? Do you know what I mean? And I feel like it's the same sort of thing as the Tattoos of Auschwitz. Like, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Like, why is this Wales Book of the Year? Is it because it's an amazing story? You know, it is an amazing story. Is it an amazing novel? I feel like no. Okay. And here, Alice Conran, who I really do like, who I think is a really good writer. I've read like a couple of her books. She says, Kean writes like a dream and this is a story for the ages. And I was like, oh, woo, okay. You know, maybe her writing is really good and I'm just in a terrible mood because it's Monday. You know, and I like don't have any popcorn left and stuff like this. But then I'm looking here and it says to, like in the like acknowledgements or whatever, it says to Alice Conran, who tutored me on a novel writing course at DEWITHON, thank you for your support, enthusiasm, and magnanimity. Like, is it because Alice Conran thinks that this like book is a banger? Or is it that she's mates with Catrin Kean and like feels, you know, like a responsibility to her as her tutor? So I mean. Okay, rant over. I'm sorry. I'm going to keep reading it and maybe my opinion will be wildly different and I'll feel really bad about this and potentially delete it. We'll see. Spud, this looks exactly like something I had in like 1994 called a caboodle where you like put all your stuff in. It's amazing, huh? Look, there's like, we can like make bracelets and stuff.
They're big and squishy.
And this case then, you can put loads of crap in this case. Like when you're big and have makeup, you can put makeup in this case.
Oh, yeah.
My caboodle was with me for ages.
When did he throw it away?
I think possibly Grandpa threw it away in the purge of my stuff. Dunno, you know, a caboodle doesn't last forever. Just the memories you have of it. Oh my god, I just had one of those like bad mom moments, like where like one thing happens, then everything spirals in your head and you're like convinced that you're the worst mother. It's not even that big a deal. Like, I used to have these like way more than I do now. I haven't had like a moment like this in ages. Like, I used to get them loads when Anwen first started school. Like, and I was like thrown into a pit of like fellow mums, you know. Before that, like, I don't have any like mum friends, you know. Like, none of my friends that I've made as friends are also moms. But nowadays, like, I think, you know, I've grown up a bit and like I'm older and wiser and I've like accepted I'm just not like a momsy person, you know what I mean? And that doesn't mean that I'm a bad mom. I just, you know, and like I think I've accepted as well that I can't change my personality and like why try? But still, like I picked my kid up late from school and like her little face, like seeing me and being like, oh, you didn't forget me, like, and like the faces on the teachers as well. Like when I say things like this to James, he's like, no, like you're reading the wrong, like, and I try to live in that. Do you know what I mean? I try to be like, of course, there's a million things going on, there's chaos, you know, everything in a day. Like, of course, there's loads of external things that affect, you know, their facial expressions. But like, if I'm honest with myself, like, experience has shown that I'm a better reader of faces than that. Like, I'm actually like a pretty good reader of faces, and their faces. Okay, well, it's good. I'm just gonna, you know, read about my book. I'm still working through this, you know, this salt book. I'm determined it's gonna be good and it's gonna lift me from these depths. Nope, never mind. Y'all, fuck that. That book is not doing it for me, okay? I have DNF'd it and put it in the box of books I'm giving away to the Greyhound Rescue. I've moved on now to Conan Jones' Bird, Blood, Snow, because I've read much of Conan Jones before and I need him to heal me. Heal me! Okay, I'm already enjoying this one way more. I love these, okay? So this is Bird, Blood, Snow by Conan Jones, and it's part of this series that I read a lot of. where Welsh authors were tasked with rewriting or sort of reimagining stories from the Mabinogion, which is like a collection of Welsh folktales, or like a Welsh epic. And that collection includes a lot of original King Arthur stories, because the Arthurian legends sort of started in Wales. And this is one of them. So this one is based on one of the Arthur stories about Peredur. So Peredur is like a wild character. He sort of comes out of nothing and like knows nothing about the world and goes on this wild quest for King Arthur and just like does crazy stuff. Like he like fells 12 guys all at once, you know, like just like for no seemingly like reason at all. And so Cynan Jones, in his retelling of it, he's sort of reimagined it as a child, you know, like in his imagination he's going on this quest. Like in the beginning bit, he sees like all these kids and like with like really good bikes, you know, like really shiny bikes with like extra accoutrement, you know, like stuff on the spokes, and they've got like brilliant helmets and like flashy like knee pads and stuff like that. And he's got none of that crap, you know. He just like pulls his like rusty shitty bike out of the garage and he's like, I'm gonna be like those guys, you know. And he just like rocks some shit together and he like puts creosote on his tires so they're like dark, you know, like puts like a bowl on his head, you know, like he goes forth, you know, with like a twig, you know. And he's like the grit spat and scattered under the bike, and his mother began to shout, that's right, go on then, go and find your father's sword. Oh, they're real men, so brave. And then sort of later it goes on, and he's like, a wailing harangue. He heard her tone with sarcasm, but all he gathered from what she said, with the rattle of the wheels, the clatter of stabilizers, the squeak of the chain, through the tin bowl on his head was misheard the first part. That's right, go then, go and find Arthur's court. He had his mother's blessing. You know, and like he like the first place he goes is this girl's like little Wendy house, like her little playhouse where she's got a little crown on, like that's his first princess, you know. And like I feel like it's really capturing like Arthurian tales, you know. Like you think like the nutsness of it, the wildness, like if he's like, you know, besting all these people that are like way bigger than him and like better fighters or whatever, like is he actually doing that? Like, is it just maybe his reputation, like, spiraling as he goes, like, as he's bigging it up in his mind, like, rumors are just sort of following him and making it even bigger, you know? And you've got, like, that element, because it's, like, a bunch of kids, like, you interview the kids, and the kids are like, oh, yeah, like, we're afraid to go out, like, he's a menace, he might kill us, and you've got, like, this, like, Celtic Echo, this newspaper, like, reporting on this, like, mad kid, you know, just like offing people. And then part of it is like, well, if he is really doing all this stuff, like, is he insane, you know? And he's got like, from that time on, I felt that I'm not always in my right mind, and my reason is sometimes all over the place, and I have done 1,000 mad acts. Like, I don't know, is it all in his mind? Is it really happening? Like, I don't know, it's just wild, and I'm really enjoying it. Like, I really enjoy like how creatively and how cleverly the authors reimagine these stories that, you know, have been like being told, you know, for hundreds of years. And I quite like Cynan Jones specifically. Like, I've read, you know, a bunch of his stuff now, and I really enjoy how he writes, and I feel like it's lending itself really well to like giving you a feel of a story that's like told out loud, you know, like a sort of storytelling tradition for hundreds of years. Like, it's wild. I'm really enjoying it. I really needed this today.
My character name is Etta. She's powerful. She lives in Cardiff. But she flies to America. And she wants to go to America because she wants to be a rock star. And her favourite friends are Megan and Atman.
Oh, whoa! It's a story, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
They have that at school. They have that at
Which
school.
one? That one.
Yeah, it's called a joke book.
Do you want to get it?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Okay.
It's a joke book.
Alma just got this for her birthday, and I wanted one of these for myself for so long. I want to fuck around with it. I want to just mess with it right now.
flowers.
So there's these ones, but I think those are too big. Yeah? Yeah, I think we should use these ones. Babes, these are perfect. I don't really understand how this works. I just sort of put it down? Like, do I squish it? No, this doesn't look like mine. I think they just squish it. I don't think it's done cooking yet.
Just try and do it hard, but through that gap so it doesn't go into the garden. Oh, I will make it. That didn't go into the garden. I got it. Did it?
I've only effing gone and done it, y'all. Look how amazing this is. Like, the baby abandoned me ages ago to play with a mate with like a ball over the garden wall. But I don't care. This is my life now. I shall devote my life to sticking shit in this press until I'm bored. Okay, so I'm pretty sure it's a nightclub scene with like loads of drugs and dancing and stuff. That's like a symbolic stand-in for King Arthur's court, right? And then they've lost it all. It's all over, and I've never felt more seen. Okay. When they pulled him from the club, there was a thin morning light. The last fond slush of snow had gone. He had lost all sense of time. They were in the gradual morning light. There was a strange displacement to them there. They looked incongruous in their lurid clothes, their sweat chilled, the spell passed. Predir looked at Angharad, a white girl dimming in the blue light. They waited for the bus. Like, if that's not every case of me emerging from the club, like going, what the hell time is it? I don't know what is. Okay, I have finished it. And I think in the end, I don't like the turn that it took. Like, it took quite an intense turn. And like, not giving anything away, but the thing that I like about this story, about the Predir story, is that it's a quest. You know, it's like an Arthurian romantic quest. And I'm pretty sure, like, I'm not 100%, I'll have to Google it, but I'm pretty sure that the Grail story, like the famous one, came from this story. Like, the author of the Grail story was inspired, first of all, by this story, you know, like, it's like that, it's like a quest. And I was hoping to sort of have more of that. I think it was like that in the beginning and then took a turn. But I was hoping at least, you know, for some sort of, like, I don't know, Don Quixote, you know, something in his mind or something like that, you know. And instead, it went dark. But other than that, I fully appreciated this one. Like, the writing was bangarang the whole time. I'm in love with Conan Jones' writing. I think now I have, after this one, officially read all of his published works like a stalker. Like, and as soon as he writes something else, like, I'm there. It stayed amazing throughout. So I think I'm gonna give it a good 4 stars. Okay, moving on. Next one. So I've picked a bit of a weird one because I'm in a bit of a weird mood. It's also quite thick, so I have high hopes, but new, like, looser, lighter, easier for your 2022 me is gonna be better with DNFing things. So if at any point I'm like, actually this book is just 100% not for me, I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna let that baby go. If you love it, let it go, you know? I'm gonna try Anthracite by Matt Thomas. Like, I don't know much about it, but I saw a thing somewhere where it's billed as like a comedy cyberpunk taking place in like alternative universes and stuff. And one of the sort of things of it is that Wales in this alternative universe is the single global superpower. Abducted from his mundane existence by the mysterious Gwen, she tells him there are forces seeking his destruction. He has to run or die. It turns out Kevin's story holds the key to why all worlds but ours turn the way they do. I think it's gonna be either like hilarious and amazing, or just stupid. So stupid. But I think we're about to find out. Okay, I'm not sure I'm liking my Anthracite book. Like, the beginning bit of it was quite, like, Terry Pratchett-y. Do you know what I mean? Like, that sort of style. And loads of people are into that style. Like, I can't even, like, think of how to describe it. Like, sort of, like, overkill silliness. Is that it? Or, like, sort of like a bunch of just extra things, like extra details that are silly, like thrown in that have nothing to do with the plot and don't carry it forward and don't do anything. Like, they're just thrown in for overkill to like make it ridiculous on purpose. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like making fun of itself, you know, like a sort of parody and like not a cohesive story. It's not like, I don't know, I think like one person said once, like, it's just full of like clever one-liners and stuff like that. Anyway, that sort of style doesn't do it for me. Like, I tried to read Terry Pratchett's like books ages ago and I just can't. Like, it's not for me. The Terry Pratchett thing, it's not for me. And also, like, the writing also I don't think is very good. Like, I know I said that about another one and now I just sound like a snob or like a person who thinks all books should be judged on her like personal standard. And I'm not like that, I promise. But I don't think the writing's very good. But like, some stuff is happening, like the plot is good. And I feel like the characters are sort of cool. Like, one of them is like jumped into this guy's life in Wales and she's like a mysterious figure and she's got like fingerless gloves, you know, and like a leather jacket. She's like, come with me if you want to live, you know, and she like takes him into this crazy alternate universe. And I love that and I want to know what happens to her and him. So I think I'm gonna stick with it. Nope, never mind. Okay, yeah, fuck that one too. Like, the writing, I just can't. Like, every page, I was just like, I can't. So I moved on. I was in work when that book went sour, and that's like the worst thing, because then you start with a book that you don't want to read and you don't have another book. So I started an audiobook on Scribd, which is the audiobook of this one, Tirzah and the Prince of Crows. And I figured out where I got to in the listening of it. I got to all the way to page 33 and still like it. So I think that's going to be good. So Tirzah and the Prince of Crows. I actually looked on Goodreads as well because I was feeling a bit nervous about DNFing 2 different books and didn't want to start another one I was going to DNF. I looked on Goodreads and Sharon actually posted like quite a pretty good review of it. She said there were like things in it she didn't love, but overall 4 stars. So feel confident giving this one a go. Drawing on Welsh mythology and with an almost fable-esque quality, intensely immersive, layered and powerful. You know, I'm down. Basically, I think it's about a girl in Wales in the 70s who's in like a really religious family, like, you know, don't wear modest clothing sort of like strict. And then she meets a boy. As she begins to struggle against the confines of her community, juggling everyone's expectations and trying to find her own way in the world, life takes an unexpected turn. Okay, I'm excited. But I have found that there aren't chapter headings. I mean, there are chapter headings, but they're not numbered. So it makes it hard to balance reading the book with listening to the audiobook. Like, sometimes I like to do sort of both, depending on the situation. But I think I'm just going to have to pick one. And I've already listened to the audiobook, and I enjoy it. So I'm going to stick to this as an audiobook. So that means I need a physical book to live in those times when I need to have a physical book. Like now, I'm gonna drop Spud off at the tennis, and it's a leisure club, so there's a bar there as well, and I need to have a pint, obviously, while she's in the tennis. Like, what else am I gonna do? So I'm gonna need a book, and I've decided just to go out on a crazy whim. Okay, like I'm just trying everything these days. Okay, DNFing them if they're shit. I'm gonna slam this guy. Here Be Dragons by Sharon Penman. This is like historical fiction, I guess. Like, I think 12th century Wales royalty. I'll let you know. I slammed that whiskey drink that the bartender gave me, and then also my whole pint, my original pint that I bought before that, in the span of the hour that Spud at tennis. And then accidentally, like, I'm drunk as balls, right? And I tried to say thank you. and happy St. Patrick's Day to the bartender as I was leaving, but I just garbled all my words as a fuck. Just went kablah, and then froze, and then just stared at him and couldn't leave and couldn't move and couldn't like fix it, and then just had to leave while he stared at me. Like, I don't deserve to be Irish in any way. Like, I'm too uncool. Okay, I think I might be loving this book, okay? Like, I have completely forgotten that I used to love, like, medieval historical fiction like this in, like, a weird way. When I was, like, a teenager, I used to love shit like that, and it's been ages. I haven't read something like that for ages. And apparently I still like it, or, like, part of me, like, the nostalgic part is, like, reaching out and is, like, I don't know, embracing it. But I have a bit of a problem, and then I'm obviously not going to finish it before the end of March, and it is 800 pages long. Like, I also don't really read books this big anymore, and I used to do it loads. So we'll have to see, like, am I going to finish it before the end of DEWITHON? Should I commit to reading this and then just, like, you know, read it beyond March as well and just do it till it finishes? Like, I don't know, it's hard to commit to such a big book, isn't it? But I'm really enjoying it. Oh, it's a struggle.
So the transfer is true, but it's for local taxis.
What do you think is it? Huh? Because
Oh, you can see the whole city from here. It's all the Cardiff and the marina and everything.
yeah, I can see whole Cardiff. I can't get a leather crust. Joking.
Guys, I did a bad thing, okay? Shelf Life, that bookstore where Bert sometimes works, it's over by my yoga on a Sunday, and they're normally closed on a Sunday, which, you know, ends temptation, okay? However, like a special sort of treat day, they were open today, and I stopped in for a browse, you know, not to get anything, just to visit the books. And obviously that didn't work out, so I did a bad thing. So to be fair, two of the ones I got after Anwen, and got them for free because Bert is awesome, and also because they're World Book Day ones, and you're supposed to sort of have the token, or you pay £1 for them. And World Book Day is sort of over, so I guess that was sort of it. But I got them, the one by S, the bookstore by S, had them, but they didn't have a lot of Welsh language ones, and the Spud doesn't read English so well. She's working on it, give her time. But she can read those herself then. She got the Welsh ones. The bad thing I did is that I did get a book for myself, and to be fair on myself, that only puts me at 3 books for this year. I've only purchased now 3 books for myself this year, and so I've written down the numbers. Okay, I've gotten rid of 32 through just reading them or DNFing them or just giving them away. Brings my total number of unread books in my house to 141, down from 200, basically, and the goal is 100, so I'm more than halfway to the goal, so I feel like I deserve that. And I picked Other People's Clothes by Calla Henkel. We'll have to see how it is. I've never heard of it before. I just randomly saw it there. Most of the books that are there, you know, they're curated already because it's a small shop, so I feel like the likelihood of finding something good there that I like is, like, quite high, even if I've, like, never heard of it before. But it looks a bit nuts. Berlin, 2009. 2 young art students arrive from New York, desperately hoping to reinvent themselves Renting an apartment from an eccentric crime writer, Zoe and Haley spend their nights twisting through Berlin's club scene and their days hungover. Word. Then, inexplicable things start happening in the apartment. Are they being spied on? Sounds a bit nuts. I'm down. I'm down for that. I'm pretty excited. I'm gonna read it in April. Okay, so just quick general book update, right? Here Be Dragons, still going well, but I'm not very far into it. I'm only about there. And I'm like still into it. So it's basically this kid in like the 1200s, who's related to one of the princes of Wales, but his mother has married an English lord of some sort. So they've had to live in England for a bit, and they've now moved back to Wales because the kid's uncle was murdered. And I just like the writing of it. Like, it's nostalgia, basically, like back to a time when I was like super into these like epic medieval things. But I'm enjoying it, and I'm glad I didn't bin it. Like, I got it ages ago, like years and years ago, when like, you know, younger me found it, and I'm glad I didn't get rid of it. And that's sort of the theme for this vlog, I think. Things that I've purchased very recently have turned out to be shit because I was super excited about them, and then ones that have just been sleeping on my shelf that I almost got rid of a million times have turned out to be very good. Okay, anyway, I'm also listening to the audiobook of this guy, so I've decided that I can probably just give this one back to the library and, like, you know, free myself up for getting new ones. But I have found where I am in here, and it's actually quite far. It's nearly halfway. And I don't hate it. I don't hate that. Like, the writing's good, characters are good. Not a lot of stuff has happened plot-wise yet. Like, she's just currently fighting with herself about sin because her family's like that, you know, like everything is quite sinful. So she's sort of just like living her life in a normal way, doing normal things that normal people go, like, and just thinking, oh, this is very sinful. But she's sort of in love a bit with this other kid in the church, but then they've had like a lodger sort of thing, like, come to stay with them and their family, and he's a bit of a bad boy, you know, and like the dad's like, you should come to church, you know, and he's like, no mate, and he's just like smoking out back, you know, he's like, no, I'm not doing that, and she's into it. I feel like it's gonna get way better. Like, I feel like this might be like a second half banger, you know, like a grower, not shower, so we'll have to see. Anyway, I feel like this is the end of the vlog for now because it is hella long already. I apologize for that. I'm going to try to keep my vlog for next week. I think next week's the last week, isn't it? Or is it the week after that? There might be 2 vlogs left for DEWITHON. I don't know. But next week's vlog, I think I'm going to try to curate it a bit better. Like, not talk as much. Like, I'm saying I'm not going to talk as much, and I've just been talking for absolutely fucking ages since I turned this camera on. Or I'm going to try not to do that next time. I promise. Okay. Thank you for watching, if you've actually even gotten this far. Like, I know it's long as fuck. If you have any questions for me, any thoughts, anything at all, what are you reading? Have you read this Other People's Clothes book, and did you like it? If not, I'll be sad. And I will see you next week. Okay. Bye bye bye.